Alex here from Brotherly Love Real Estate, and today we're talking about how to sell your house regardless of where you live, whether it's in Bucks County, Montgomery County, Delaware County, or even in the heart of Philadelphia, the city of Brotherly Love. There's lots of different ways to sell your house, and it's hard to fully conceptualize strategies and what is most important, what deserves the most of your time if you want this process done right, because it's not always an easy process. And each house, especially around the East Coast and in Pennsylvania in particular, the houses there are just so incredibly old. You know, lots of history, and the houses were built decades, even centuries ago at some point, certain structures. So a lot comes with these buildings and these properties, these houses. So whether you live in Bucks County, Montgomery County, Delco, or in Philly, you know, some important takeaways and important things for you to know as a homeowner and to focus on when preparing to sell your house. First one is evaluate the location of your property. Are you close to a bus stop, close to a subway stop? What's the proximity to public transportation, and how accessible is your house to places that people often go to? You know, it's a huge thing, especially if people are commuting for work or commuting to see family or friends. That's an important feature in a property that they look for. So number one is location, location, as they say. That's a huge factor, and definitely something important to know and highlight, especially if your property is very accessible or does have great location. It's important to highlight that as much as possible because people really pay attention to that kind of stuff nowadays. Another thing, of course, and another very important factor to consider and to focus on when preparing to sell your home is the condition of the property. So, I would start by asking yourself this question. Do you think that you would sell your property to an investor, maybe like a house flipper or something, someone like that? Or do you imagine more of like a family moving into your home? Because those are two very, very different types of buyers, and we'll actually get into how to find the right buyer in one of our next videos. But to start off, I would just ask yourself that question. Are there lots of families around you on your block and on your street and nearby? Or does it seem like there's more investors, there's tenants around, house flippers, new construction, things of that nature going on in your neighborhood and around your property? Because you're going to have to please those buyers in two totally different ways, right? If it's a family coming to buy your property and they want to live there for 10, 20, 30 years maybe, and raise their family and have their kids live there, and maybe their pet dog or pet cat, whatever the situation calls for, they might be more particular in terms of the condition of the house. I apologize for the wind making this video outside the park in Philadelphia. But this is extremely important to note who your end buyer is. So from there you can kind of decide how much repairing the property and doing renovations, how important is that based on who's planning on buying the house. For example, if you're selling it to a family who's planning on living there for 25 years, the kitchen is probably an important feature of the property. Certain families, they're okay with repairing the kitchen and doing it themselves, but others want a turnkey, perfect, easy to move into kitchen so that they can just start living and start creating that experience there in their home for years to come. However, on the flip side, if you're selling to a house flipper, then they might plan on renovating the entire place anyway, so it doesn't really matter if you fix up the backsplash or redo the sinks or change the cabinets before you sell. Stuff like that isn't as important to them because they might put their own spin on this property anyway. So again, check your condition, but you kind of know what to do with the condition of your property based on who you think the end buyer will be. And you will attract different end buyers based on the condition as well. And then, of course, you have to find the right buyer. That's the last factor that I'd say to consider when selling your home, whether you're in Bucks County, Montgomery County, Delaware County, or in the city of Philadelphia, is to find the right buyer who will pay the right price for your property. And each buyer will come with different contingencies, which we'll get into in another video as well. And they care about different things in terms of the house. So that's the video and some tips on how to sell your house in the greater state of Pennsylvania.